Habari zenu Dadas. Thank you for watching us. Dadas is a real-life experience women's talk show, and we come to you every Sunday at 5 p.m. on KBC Channel 1. Today we'll be talking about domestic violence, which is basically violence meted on women and children or anyone at the domestic level. Joining me today is Clemens. So Clemens, tell us a bit about yourself.
Thank you so much, Pauline, for hosting me here today. It's a privilege. Clemence is a mother of 4 children, a single mother for now. I'm a business lady.
Things are changing, eh? You're a business lady?
A business lady and also a gospel minister.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're a busy girl?
I am, yes, I am.
You're a fairly busy girl.
Yeah, I am.
Okay. So Clemens, I wanted us to go back a few years ago. And we talk about domestic violence. You've experienced domestic violence. And when we spoke before, you told me about how you got married and how the violence happened in marriage. Could you take us to your dating days? When you met this man, how did you meet?
Okay, about meeting, how we met, it's something that I don't like talking it unless I'm in a proper pulpit, let me put that way. But now what I will say is after we met and you got married, we started living together as husband and wife. It was like a come we stay thing. Immediately after 1 month when I conceived, everything changed.
Okay, the reason I'm asking about how, when you met, see, when you meet people, they look wonderful. Were there any signs that are violent? Why I'm asking this is because, you know, sometimes you meet a guy and he has anger issues. You meet a guy and he has issues, you know. And did he look like he had issues of anger?
He wasn't.
He was not an angry man?
Person. Yes, he was just a good man. Okay. A good-looking man.
He was a good-looking man.
I guess any woman would want to be in his hands.
Okay.
Yes.
And when you began dating him, how long did you date?
We didn't date. That's why I'm like, as the way we met, it's something that we didn't date at all.
So you met him, you got married?
Actually, we met once when I was coming from a funeral. My friend had lost his dad. So we were coming from the funeral. When he saw me, he came and asked for my number. Of course, I said no because I didn't know him. And also the Christianity, I was a Christian and he belongs to a different religion. So I didn't. But what I didn't know later was my friend went ahead and shared my number to him. And then later, after a month, it was my birthday. That is the time I saw him. And I was married to him. So I didn't date him. But by the look of the things, he's a good guy. He's attractive and any woman would want to run. If you see my son, you'll just know that he was a good guy.
Really?
Yeah.
He was a good-looking man. Okay, so here you are, the first month. Clearly you had not dated because the first month,
I'm telling
pregnant.
Pregnant.
Okay.
Yes.
So now you are not just married within 1 month like Simon Makonde, but now you're also pregnant. It's a Simon Makonde relationship.
I am telling you.
So things began to turn. What happened?
Things turned immediately when he realized that I'm pregnant. Instead, like any man who would be happy that now my wife is expecting, him it was a different case. Now he could come home after 2 weeks. When he comes home, he starts beating me up. So I'll ask him, why are you beating me up? That was immediately after 1 month. Then come the 2nd month, I had difficulties in my pregnancy. Now the doctor said, now because of this difficult, you will abstain sex for now until when I will give you the go ahead. We don't know when. It can even maybe go to until you give birth. But as the moment you keep on coming for the clinics, we will be able to tell you when.
Hey, but Clemens, that is a big one. This is a man who was just married. Do you understand how things are changing? Yeah? He has married. 1 month you are pregnant. The next 1 month you have been told nothing. Can you see even him from his side? Things are not going very well.
But also, he should also see on my side. It's not my fault. It is about our child that we're expecting. So we need both of us to submit what the doctor is telling us so that we can have a good child at the end. So it was not my fault too.
Okay. So what happened when you delivered this? This is harder news than telling him you are pregnant.
I know he did not take it positively, actually. he even now increased his anger towards me. And he said, as much as the doctor said that I will not touch you, there's one place that he did not say that I will not go. So that is the way I will go. At first I thought that he's joking, but he was serious.
Oh dear.
Yeah, he was serious.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now you are being beaten. Were you working, by the way? Were you going to work? Did you have a job?
I was working. I had a very good job. This man could take me to work, literally wait for me outside, take me back home. Became a routine. He took my phone. I didn't have any phone. He told me nobody's allowed to come and visit you here. No family, no nothing. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And from the beginning, you told me that you actually moved to another town. So you moved from, I think...
My mom, I used to stay at my mom's place. I was still a young girl. So I used to stay with my mom. But now, during my birthday, I was turning 24. And I'm like, I've gotten a husband. What should I do? I knew my mom would not allow me to go and tell her that I'm going to get married. So I lied to her. I told her that, Mom, I've been transferred to another county. So I'll be working from far from the home area. And she said, okay. So I lied because I wanted to go and create time that I can be, so that I will be living with him.
Okay.
Yes. So I was working, yes.
Was the tall, dark and handsome gentleman working?
Yeah, he was working. Yeah, he was working.
He was working?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you came home in the evening, there was a lot of violence. What would spark off violence? What is it that you do? Because sometimes I think we are told, you know, women, kuna mali inafika ni mpaka chapwe kidogo, anasumbua.
I don't think ours ilikuwa ni story na kusumbua. Because him, as I said earlier, he could disappear for 2 good weeks and then he comes back. I didn't know he disappeared and end up. I came to know later he had another wife somewhere, you see. So when he disappears, he's go to the other wife, the other bomber. And then when he remembers there's Clemens, now comes back to me. I even one day ask, why are you acting as if you're not getting these things from somewhere else and you have them somewhere else? Wait for me. Once I deliver, things will get back to normal. But it was not the case on his side.
So you had told me that actually you had been hospitalized. That was how brutal.
I am telling you, it was like every time he could come after 2 weeks, he will leave me beaten up. The neighbors will take me to the hospital. It was a routine. A routine. It continued for good 9 months.
Explain to me, you're a working woman. You pay your bills. You're pregnant. Why are you being allowing yourself to be beaten by someone who even you don't know their story and actually who comes once every 2 weeks?
First, I would say this is a relationship that my parents, my friends, and my siblings, they're not approving anything to do about that. It is just Clemens and this guy. Second, I don't want my mom to think like I want to prove a point that this marriage must work. Topping up all, I am pregnant. I want my child, when the time is coming or she's coming to this world, have both parents. So I was like, let me see these things work. And I was so sure that after giving birth, things will change.
So you actually took it upon yourself to believe that he did not like you now because you were pregnant?
That's what I thought. You know, some men, yeah, you can come and tell them that they're pregnant. There's that shock of like, I'm not ready to be a father. And they will just be putting stress on you. So I thought maybe after I've given birth, he will change.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happened? 9 months later, you are now fully, you're pregnant, kabisa.
Kabisa.
Now you cannot even move around a lot. You are waiting to have a child. How, I know you told me you went and had a baby, and at some point you had even moved out. Then you came back again.
Later, I didn't, as not moving out, going anywhere. I moved out because I was in the hospital.
Okay.
What happened is, let me take you back. I remember when I was 9 months, my dad had now from people, now they knew that now I'm staying within home area, and my dad said, I will look for my daughter, and I know I will find her. So one day my dad came to visit. And when he came home, now my husband when came home, he found me with my dad. He was not happy. I remember he took a glass in front of my dad and he threw at me. And my dad could not say anything. He just looked at me. My dad just stood up and went. So I was like, this is how much you people hate me. You cannot even say anything, that your daughter is being beaten and you're just standing up and going. And my dad went like that. So now 9 months comes, now I'm in labor. He refused to take me to the hospital. So I'm in labor. I'm telling him, I think my baby is coming. Take me to the hospital. He's telling me, no, you will stay here. So thank God to his friend who came to visit, and I heard them talking. And then later he said, okay, let me take her to the hospital. So by God's grace, I gave back my child, my baby boy.
Okay.
Yes.
So you came back home.
I came back home.
Things were, now you are thinking things are going to improve, obviously.
Actually, I knew now, since now the baby is on board, things will change.
Okay.
Yes.
Did they change?
They didn't. Actually, they didn't.
They became worse.
They became worse. Why am I saying worse? Now, not only me that I'm being beaten, but also my baby. So I said, now, Clemens, if it could be just you alone, you can bear the cross. Now, your child too? No. Your child has a life. Yes.
Why would he beat the child? The child is his. That is his own blood.
I guess I offended him that day, according to him. I offended him so much. He came home and he told me that I have defiled the place that he had not told me to go. And I went, you see. So when I came home, he was so mad at me. So he beated me up that time. He beated me up. I remember I passed out. It's like he waited for me. I came back, he beated me again. The last time he took a monitor. I don't know if you know monitor. Nowadays we use laptop, but now that monitor. And he hit on me, on my head. So he knew that he has left me
for dead.
Exactly. So before he went out, he remembered that I have a son. He came back and took my son, hit him on the wall. So he went out knowing that Clemens and his son is dead.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's terrible.
Yes.
So you got up.
So
what happened after that?
When I got up, I went to where my child was lying down. Actually, I crawled to where my child was. I picked my child, and I said, let me try my level best to go outside. When the neighbors will be passing by, I know I'll get someone to help me. So we got help. Neighbors were going to their works. They saw us outside and they took us to the hospital.
But I'm sure your neighbors by now had gotten tired of your drama.
Yeah, they were wondering what is happening. This lady, she's beautiful. She's working all the time. She's being beaten. What is happening? Something must be wrong somewhere. Okay. But myself, I could not even understand what was happening.
Okay.
Yes.
So you went to hospital. Was that the last time you went back there?
No, after the hospital, I came back home.
You went back there where you were almost being killed?
Yes. Because I said, I don't know, all this is like there's some forces that are working behind me. So I could not even realize why I'm being beaten and I'm still going back to the same house. Even the time that I've been admitted when I was pregnant, still I'll come back to the same house.
This is incredulous. Why would you go back? I need to understand this. Clemence, I need to understand. Why would you go back to a man who has beaten you to almost killing you?
Mine was, mine was a spell love. So I could not see anything than this is the place I'm supposed to be.
So you went back?
Yeah, I went back to the same house.
And he continued beating you?
My mind was telling me you're in the right place, but my heart was disagreeing. So when I came back after now, me and my child, now this time when he came, I remember he told me, I don't understand. Ukona life mingi sana. That was his comment. Okay. So now this time round, I'm like, I'm strong. I have to stand for my child. Now I said, no, Clemens, this is too much. You'll not keep quiet anymore. Speak out. Did you look for someone?
Did you ever wonder whether, did it ever occur to you that he might actually kill you?
Actually, I was even wondering why I was still alive. So that time it came to my realization that, Clemens, if you will not act, your baby will die. So what will you do? Speak out. People might see you smiling there and you're happy, but you are dying inside. Look for someone and speak out. Okay. Yes.
So what did you do? Because you eventually left.
Yeah, I looked for my friend. I told my friend, I know you people, you don't understand me. Anytime you look at me, you feel like I'm okay, but I'm not okay. So I narrated the whole story, what I'm going through. And then she helped me to get a person that he walked with the journey together until I get out from that.
Okay. Yes. So how did you live? Did you live with your clothes, with the child? What did you live with?
Only my child. And I remember I was just wearing a Dada with the slippers.
You left?
Only with my child.
Only with your child?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long did the abuse happen?
A whole 1 year.
1 year?
Yeah. A whole 1 year. Actually, exactly a year. Because remember, we married 1 month, I'm pregnant. We married on October, November, December, I'm pregnant. And by the time I was leaving that house, my child was 2 months, 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yes.
Clemens, did you ever go to the police? Did it ever occur to you to go to the police?
No.
Why?
I didn't want drama, number one. Second, who would believe that your husband was as in raping you and fighting you up? You see? And then that shame and like, how would the society say about me? How would my mom say about me, my siblings, my friends? So I'm like, let me cover it up. And then I was so much, I believe that he will change after our baby, you see, after I've given birth. So I knew he will change.
When the violence was happening to you, did you think it was your fault? Did you ever
Yes.
think it was your fault, that it's my fault that I'm being beaten like this? This is because of something that I'm not
Yes.
doing. That's why, so I deserve to be beaten. Is that, what were you thinking?
Okay, one thing I knew that I don't deserve to be beaten, but I was like, Clemens, you brought yourself into this. Why are you here? You brought yourself into this. And you can still go out, but you're still like insisting, believing that things will work. So yes, I was just blaming myself and telling to myself, even if you live here, who will take you with your big belly? You see? So the solution is just stay there, remain there. Yeah.
Wow, okay. I think for me, my other question would be, throughout this time, what did your parents say? What did you have no friends? You know, did anybody not see that you had scars? Because by the time somebody beats you up, people can see that you have maybe a broken something, or you've been to hospital, or you have bandages. Nobody noticed anything.
Actually, the person who was so much concerned was my boss. Because sometimes he could see me with a red eye, and then he will tell me, Clemens, tell me the truth. What is happening? So I'm afraid to tell him the truth because he knew my parents. And I'm like, if I'll tell him what is happening, he will discuss it with my parents. And remember, I love this guy. He's the father of my child. I want to protect him. So I remember one day he was telling me, Clemens, if all this it is from your husband, I will kill him one day. So I will tell him, no, you cannot kill my husband. I know he will change. Okay. So he cannot. I was not giving him all stories, but I could give him just the bit of the story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Looking back now, when you think about what you went through with domestic violence, when you think about the fact that the person you love the most is the one who hurt you, and really, I mean, this was your husband. He was meant to protect you, and yet what he did is he abused you, he beat you up, and he did some terrible things to you. When you think back about it, how has it affected your life? How emotionally, psychologically, what do you think?
I will say, now I am talking this because I am healed. But before I could see men, and I'm like, all men are beasts. You see, a period of 5 years before I remarry, I would just see Amanda, I'm like, seriously, I hated them. And I became too much possessive to my child because of what we went through together. Even I could not trust my own mother with my own child. So it really affected me so much. Okay. Yes.
Thank you, Clemence. The good news is you're here and you look amazing.
Yeah.
And you remarried and you got a life.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll be right back. Go get yourself a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, as I always say. We'll be back with Jackie. Jackie is a lawyer, an advocate of the High Court, and she'll be telling us about domestic violence. When it happens, what should we do? How should we respond? Don't go too far. Welcome back, Dadas. Today we are talking about domestic violence, and we've been with Clemence. Thank you, Clemence, for sharing your experiences so candidly. We are joined by Jackie. She's an advocate of the High Court. Welcome, Jackie.
Thank you, Pauline.
And we want to begin with you. I think you've had Clemence. What is it that makes women stay when they're being battered? Question number one.
Okay, first of all, I think the misconception we have is that domestic violence is physical violence only. I've listened to Clemens, and the first thing she said is that she was working and her husband would take her to work, wait for her, and take her back home. That is control. First of all, someone takes away your phone or monitors who you're calling. Then they decide who is your friend and who's not your friend. Then they decide how often you can visit your parents. They decide what kind of clothes you can wear. They decide which church you go to. At first, it looks like small hints of love, but in essence, it's possessiveness. That is a red flag in the relationship. When someone starts doing that, your skirt looks a bit short. Could you please lengthen the hem? That makeup is a bit too much. Could you take off the lipstick? You might think it's normal, but it's not normal. That is not a healthy relationship. That's the first red flag.
Okay.
And abuse in a relationship, domestic violence, is not necessarily physical. It's emotional. Every time we have an argument, I tell you, I am going to kill your child, or I'm going to kill myself.
Or I'm going to kill you.
I'm going to kill you, that's a very outright one. But if I'm going to kill myself, I'm guilting you into not telling me what is bothering you. So whenever you say anything that bothers you, I threaten with harming myself, with harming the child, with harming a friend of yours. So you tone it down. Every time I see you speaking to a neighbor, why are you speaking to the neighbor? Why are you airing our issues to the neighbor? You can't even keep a secret in our marriage.
I know, that's a very good one. Yeah? You like talking a lot about our marriage to people.
So you feel you subdue the other party so badly, you've not even touched them. Physically, when they walk into work, they look very good. But emotionally, they are broken. Now, it's harder to deal with the emotional beat than the physical beat. The physical beat, once someone hits you, you can walk into any police station or any rescue center. FIDA and Nairobi Women have some of these setups where you can go and report and get some kind of help. But if it's emotional, even you yourself, at some point, you don't know you're being abused. No one around you sees you being abused. He never hits me. He just says I shouldn't wear high heels. He never hits me. He just says I shouldn't see Mama so-and-so anymore. So you imagine it's normal. And unfortunately, we're in a setup where most girls are brought up seeing that of their mothers and the women in their lives. So when it happens to you, but it used to happen to your mother, so what's the difference? You don't see the difference. When you go tell your mother what's happening, sometimes she doesn't see the difference because that's the setup she has been in her marriage and her mother before.
Hold a bit, Jackie. This is very shocking. Are you saying that emotional abuse is real abuse, but can it be taken to court? Because I think many women, many men will say, I've never touched her. You know, maybe financial abuse, maybe physical abuse, but emotional abuse, I think many women will testify that many men are very controlling, many men abuse them. By the way, they are constantly being insulted. You are very foolish, you are very fat, I don't know what, you know, constantly. And, you know, being reduced. Constantly, you know, small things, but the reduction is clear. That, you know, you're not important, you know, slowly. But is that, you can't take that to court. You can't go to the police. What can you do?
Criminally, you cannot go to court. But there is more than one way of resolving abuse. For instance, we have the Protection from Domestic Violence Act of 2015. And one of the most progressive things in that act is that you can get a restraining order. When you decide to leave, because again, leaving is a decision, as Clemens has told you. No one would have told her, Clemens, stalker. She wouldn't have left. She had to get to a point where she says, I deserve more than this. Then she walks out. Once you walk out, this person has never hit you. But they will come stand outside your door. If probably you've moved on, you're in another relationship, they will come and sit in on your date and insult you in front of your new date. But you might imagine there's nothing I can do. He's not hitting me. He's just causing disturbance. But there are other ways you can recover from them. For instance, if you institute a civil suit for emotional trauma and distress against this person, if you get a restraining order, that they should never come within so many feet of you or your child or your home. Those are things that you can do for emotional distress, for emotional abuse. But not for the physical abuse, other than getting a restraining order, which anyone can get. It doesn't have to be the person being abused that gets it.
Oh.
A neighbor that witnesses violence.
Oh.
Go tell the chief. Go tell the police. Go tell the gender or the children's officer. Sometimes it's not the woman who's being beaten. It's the children. It's the children who are being told, nyinyi ni wajinga kama mama yenu. It's the children who are told you'll never amount to anything. It's the children who are being told, in our family, we don't have people who behave like you. You got these behaviors from your mother. The children grow up with such low self-esteem. Anyone who witnesses that. For children, the processes are easy because you go, you report to the children's officer, a protection and care file gets opened, investigations are done, and if both parents are complacent, the children can be taken and the parents can be charged. If one parent is complacent and the other one is as much a victim of abuse as the children are, anybody can seek a protection order for another person who is getting abused.
That is such good news, because I think in Clemence's case, her jiranis were constantly taking her to hospital, bringing her back home, her boss, but nobody did anything. They literally just watched her go through a year of being violated and abused. So, for me, the good news there is that if I live next to somebody who's being abused, physically abused, I can then go and and report the matter, and something can be done about it. But I think for many of us, and I think Clemens, you can perhaps changia here, when people are, we call it wanavurugana. People are vuruganaring in the house, like you. Did the neighbors ever come and knock on your door? Was there anybody who, for me, the shocker is her father came once and he saw her being hit with a glass and he walked out. Why do you think people don't want to get involved?
Most of the time, we have this belief of you don't want to get into people's marriage. Second thing, I even tried myself. There's a time after I have healed right now. Actually, it's something that happened like a year ago. Another neighbor, a man was beating up the wife. And I said, no, I have to go. Nikatete. But before then, I said, no, let me go. Ni rush kwa police nishtaki. I went and I did what you're advising us. But surprisingly, when the police came, this lady said, no, we are not fighting. We are just playing. We are not fighting at all. Apana, wachange kuingilia nyumba za watu. What will you do? So what I will say is, unless it comes from you, you cannot get help.
Okay, let me throw this back to you. Had your neighbor gone and reported your husband at that time, what would you have done?
Maybe I could have still protected my husband because I want the father of my child to be there with me and my child.
So you understand?
Yeah, I understand.
You completely understand, because I think you would have done exactly the same thing. You would have said, wacha kuingilia nyumba yangu.
Unaingilia nyumba yetu kwa nini? Nimekutuma unisaidie, you see. So somehow, yes, as much as we want to help, I will still say that the help comes from you first as a person. Yeah.
Jackie, you work with FIDA on and off. You work with them. You see a lot of women abused, and for long periods of time, perhaps they've gone through physical abuse. Many of them don't leave. When you talk to them, what do they say?
See, Clemence has said something very important. She will protect the father of her child. We are brought up in a system where being a single mother is a failure. Being a single woman is a failure. Being a childless woman is a failure. So if you can mask all this by only taking a beating once or twice a week or every day of the week and breaking a jaw or breaking the ribs, but when you sit among other women kwa chama, you are not the single woman. Your child in school is not the single mother's child, or you have not decided, I will not be abused, so wacha niachane na ndoa, let me just stay until I get someone who will not abuse me. We are brought up in a setup where by the time you're 25, if you are no symptoms of getting married, people start whispering behind your back. By the time you get to 30 and you're not married, people are full-blown talking about you. So when you get someone, no matter how abusive they are, you're trying to save face. However, in recent times, there's someone, a friend of mine said, it's better to have a single divorced daughter than to have a married daughter who is in a grave. And that's something we need to instill. It's supposed to be a paradigm shift in the society. That when you bring up your daughter, her aspirations is not marriage and children. It's a stable relationship if you get one. It is ability to take care of yourself and your child should you be a single mother. So that you don't think that if I report this man to the police and he's arrested, then I will remain without a husband, my children will suffer, people will laugh at me at the street. Let it not be that. Let the norm be respecting you for walking out of an abusive relationship.
Okay.
Let that be the standard for how we teach our girls from when they're young. Because everyone, no matter how elderly they are, they tell you one thing, ni baba ya watoto wangu, what am I supposed to do? But if you die, how watoto watabaki na mama mgani?
Is it financial as well? Could it be that many people stay on? In Clemence's case, she was very fortunate. She had a real job. She had a job. She worked somewhere. But for many women, perhaps the income is not enough to take care of the children, and the fear that they have to go and scramble around is what keeps them in an abusive marriage. What is, is that something that you see out there a lot, or what do you see?
People the young people say it's better to cry in a Range Rover than to laugh on a boda boda. Now, that's a very bad mentality, because they're okay going through hardships, going through abuse for as long as there is money at the end of it. However, for some of the abusive partners, they make you leave your job. Clemens was lucky. They make you leave your job. They make you a housewife. Then they make you a stay-at-home mom. Then they ration whatever money they can give you. When you make the decision yourself to leave the work, that's different. But when you're told you need to leave the work or this marriage is not going to work, that's entirely different. So they've made you financially dependent on them. You'll never be able to leave unless you have such a strong support system around you. Everyone around you is willing to chip in and make sure you and your children don't go hungry. However, if we don't do that, then everyone feels like lazima nikae where I get the flour. At least he feeds the children. At least the children feels his pain. It's pain that I can take as a mother to take care of my children. So financial and economic control plays a key role. Yeah. Once someone has made another leave their job, then there's nothing much this person can do. Because
so as you said before, a red flag. Anybody who's trying to control you, who's trying to make you leave your job, who's trying to control the number of people who can be around you, your friends, your relatives, how many people can come and see you, he's basically isolating you. And yes, once you are in a position to be well isolated, he can then manipulate you because you are alone.
Yes.
Okay. Now, say for example, I've been beaten for the first time. Yeah, like Clemens was hit. I'm sure it happened one time. Pop! A nice hot slap. How do I respond as a woman?
You see, they won't even get to the slap. They'll first test the waters. They'll call you something very insulting and in front of people for you to be embarrassed, and watch how you react. The next time they'll poke your head. How you react.
This one of
poking your head. Then the next time they slap you and tell you, I am so sorry. See what you made me do? You made me hit you. I had no intention of hurting you, but you made me hit you. If you hadn't gone out with Pauline or with Clemens, I would not have hit you. So you need to stop going out with Clemens and Pauline for me to stop hitting you. Now, if you decide that that is a good enough explanation, you'll sit down and a second slap will come and a kick will come. My advice is, the first time this person hits you, I do not subscribe to the school of thought that kuna kitu yenye unaweza fanya that guarantees violence. From small violence, big violence comes. For as long as we can sit and reason, if I have offended you, come sit with me. Let us talk. Tell me you did this and I did not like it. I will tell you I did this because of ABCD and I am sorry if it offended you. But if you hit me, then that one cuts all chains of conversation. And if you condone hitting the first time, there will surely be a second time. And there will be a third time. My advice to you, walk away. Walk to the closest police station, report an assault. Because by the time someone hits you, they will blame, oh, I was drunk. I am sorry, I was drunk. No. People manifest their actions, blame it on alcohol, blame it on anger, blame it on. But if we are adults that chose to be together, we should be able to speak to each other and explain, because both parties are making compromises. You're upset that I'm doing this, but you also have some behaviors that I don't like. So how do I deal with them? Should I also hit you when you do something wrong? Or how do we engage? Because if it's a relationship, should be communication is key.
Jackie, I know you are a lawyer, you're an advocate of the High Court, and you know, you are a millennial, but Clemens, and you're also a millennial. If we continue like this, will there be a marriage left? My mother will say, "Ay, alichapa tu kakofi kamoja tu akaenda kwa police station." I mean, really, I don't know. You know, maybe it is our African culture. You know, you are expected. By the time like Clemens, it has to be full blown. You know. It has to, even her parents now can agree. Unajua alikuwa anataka kuua mtoto wangu, and you know they are even still sympathetic. They're explaining alikuwa anataka kuua mtoto, akachukua hata mtoto akatupa kwa wall, anataka kuua mtoto. But you know, a slap, that is not excusable, Jackie, in African culture.
Especially there are some cultures until wachapwe hakuna mapenzi.
Si ndio?
No. Isn't that different? Pauline, there is a case that is active in court. I won't mention parties, where the gentleman and the lady were having a drink. They were in a relationship for a long time. They had a drink in the house. Then the gentleman was traveling. But the lady was feeling uncomfortable that he's traveling so much. They got into an argument. She tried to stop him physically from leaving. He just shook her off and pushed her. She hit the wall on her head and died on the spot. He didn't slap her. He had absolutely no intention of killing her. He went to the police and reported himself. The mother to that girl lost her daughter. So that slap, that kaslap kadogo tu.
Kale
kadogo tu.
Kakuchangamsha marriage.
That one. That kaslap kadogo tu could end up being very fatal. Because I believe the first port of call is talk. Clemens, mbona kitu fulani ijafanyika, and it should be something. I believe kama nilisahau kuweka chakula chumvi leo na kuna chumvi kwa nyumba bado, that does not warrant a slap. It warrants asking, "Ai, leo ulipika chakula bila chumvi." Then I'll bring the salt. But I am honestly not sure the level at which the communication has broken down so much, because hitting someone is also a sign of disrespect.
It's true.
Because you're subjecting this person to going to have to explain, niligonga mlango, the door hit my eye, that is why I have a black eye. Because you don't want to tell the police that your husband hit you for him to be arrested. So you've reduced me into a liar. And the first time I have lied for you, my daughter is seated there, watching me be beaten and lie about it. What example am I setting for this little girl?
That it's okay to be beaten.
That it's okay to be beaten. That when she meets someone who decides that I am not just going to beat you, I'm going to make sure you never work again. Then you sit down and think, but mom tolerated all this. So what footing do I have to stop? So we should first of all respect each other in a marriage, in a relationship. Actually, these days it's worse, Pauline. People start getting beaten up when they are dating before they get married.
Woo!
You're dating at the blissful period of your relationship.
Okay.
When someone is still trying to win you over, they're still beating you. And you still walk into the marriage. Okay. And you still have children. And you still want to stay in the marriage because of the children. Remember, the beating started probably 2-3 years ago before you people got married. You went through the marital counseling. You did not say you were being beaten. This thing has not been addressed. Because you imagine, if I say, what will people think of me?
It's true.
So it's such a vicious cycle that we need to show it's not, even that slap is not okay. We are encouraging even children, even violence against children, we are discouraging it. You don't have to beat your child every time your child does something wrong. Sometimes talk to this child for them to understand what is wrong. Now, if you're talking to this child when you are nurturing them, how are we beating adults? How are we being okay with beating adults? There's a Swahili saying that mwanamke humpigi ila kwa ncha ya kanga. The only way you can beat a woman traditionally in the Swahili culture is using a leso, at the corner of a leso. There is no harm that can be done with the corner of a leso. That's a patriarchal community acknowledging that you should not beat a woman. But in our millennial system, it's standard. You'll beat her, you'll kill her, we'll come up with an excuse as to why she was killed.
She was killed because she asked him for
And
money, there was a birthday party, I don't know what.
We will find a reason to excuse and make the person that has been beaten, the person that has been killed, look like a villain. And the person that has killed, like a hero. Like he was doing service to humanity for killing the other party. He or she, whichever person that killed the other. It's something we need to break, and we need to break it soon. Otherwise, no marriage will last, because every partner will kill their partner. Then they'll be left alone.
I've noticed that while in the older days, there was physical violence. Today, the violence is really escalated. You know, we are not getting to Clemence's 1 year. It's within a week, somebody is dead. What is causing people to kill each other like this? What is causing so much? Are people very angry? Is it that the institution of marriage has become so difficult that people get angry so quickly and, people kill each other? What is your opinion? We're closing with this. Yeah.
My opinion is that there's lack of mentorship. Lack of mentorship in marriage. These days, person A meets person B, they go to the AGs or they move in together and they're married. You don't have parents, not biological parents, but parents to guide you through the marriage. I've seen it with the older people. There was always a couple older than you that has been in marriage longer that guides you. There is a man that is counseling the guy. There is a woman that counseling the lady. The other thing is depression. I think our young people are so angry. There's no outlet. So whenever you get upset at something, instead of opting to talk about it, instead of opting to go and speak to your uncle and tell him, "Uncle, I got married, but my wife is doing ABCD," you decide, let's sort this one out right here, right
immediately. Let's kill each other.
Yeah, so we need to get back our mentorship systems.
Okay.
The older generation needs to sit the younger generation down and tell them what a marriage is. A marriage is not bliss. You have to walk through the good and the bad. Once you choose to live with someone for 50, 60, 70 years, of course there's a day probably even their shoes will annoy you. But you don't take those shoes and hit the person with them. You find a way of dealing with that thing, the monotony of it. People have been married for 80 years. How do they pull these marriages off? But when we marry for 80 years and we die with the knowledge and the technique of carrying out a marriage, then we have our teenagers and our young people, our 25-year-olds getting into marriage, and then we let them go into the world because they are now married. They don't have a sphere of reference. There's no book anywhere written about how to manage your marriage. It has to be learned.
Thank you, Jackie. Clemens, I cannot even take a parting shot from you because of time. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you, Jackie. Those are wise words from a young lady. As always, I say, like you at home, I sit here and I marvel. You've had it. The red flags go up as soon as you see certain things. So have a good week. Go do good. Baraka.